So this video is going to be pretty short. I honestly thought about not doing a post-game video for this game, and it took a couple hours off to think about it. And when I thought about it more, I was like, no, you can't not do it. You do the content through the good and the bad. It's also hard doing a post-game video after a disappointing loss because you put the time and effort into recording and editing the video, and you know not a lot of people are going to watch it after a loss, especially after a third straight loss, but hey, that's the nature of being a content creator for a specific team. But anyway, I mean, this was a tough loss because not only was it the Bulls' third straight loss, and not only doing so, knowing that you have a second game of a back-to-back tomorrow, traveling back to Chicago to take on the Bucks, but more importantly, this is a game the Bulls should have won. And really, it was theirs to win, and they just dropped the ball, literally, in those last 2 to 3 minutes. Like, the Bulls were up 9 points, I believe it was, with around 5 or 6 minutes left to go, and the defense just collapsed, allowing the Hawks to get open looks from 3. And then on offense, they were turning the ball over and couldn't hit their shots. That's a recipe for disaster. The other issue was that the third quarter, when the Hawks went on that 30-13 run at one point that enabled them to take a strong lead, the Bulls, yes, they closed out the quarter well. They went on a run of their own, led by DeRozan, that ended up regaining lead at the end of the third quarter. But falling asleep like that in the third, which we've seen a lot this season from the Bulls, cannot happen against a team like the Hawks that is without John Collins and struggling to stay in the play-in spot in the East. I know you're on the road, you're still shorthanded, but it's a game you have to win after losing the last 2 and knowing you got a big game coming up tomorrow that is going to be even more of a challenge than this one. The funny thing is, you look across the Bulls and their box score tonight and how they performed, especially in the first half, and they checked all the boxes for playing a great game. They shot the ball well, 59% from the field, 53% from 3. Like, it's been a bit since we've seen the Bulls have a good shooting night from behind the arc. Tonight they were 14 for 26. They moved the ball well. They had 30 assists tonight, which is always the kind of barometer I use, that when you put up at least 30 assists, you generally are going to win the game. Tonight that wasn't the case. They didn't rebound the ball all that well, but neither did the Hawks, and it's because both teams shot the ball very well tonight, so there weren't too many rebound opportunities to grab. But the Bulls' defense tonight, again, especially in the second half, was pretty much non-existent, or optional, I should say. And it wasn't like they were not trying on defense per se, because what I did like in this game was the effort was there at least, but guys were just getting lost on defense in terms of reading switches and miscommunications, which led to open looks. That being said, though, Trae Young was a straight killer tonight. Like, even when he had a guy in his face, it was like he just couldn't miss, which was a stark contrast from what we've seen this season when the Bulls have Ayo on him. But whether it was Ayo, Lavine, or Coby, Trae Young was cooking guys tonight. And he had those back-to-back dagger threes in the final minute and a half, I should say, of the game. Trae finished the game with 39 points on 11 for 18 shooting and 7 for 9 from 3 with 13 assists. And the Bulls, like last game, also let Bogdanovic heat up in the fourth quarter. The other thing that was shocking to me, and you could blame this on the refs or bad defense on the Bulls, but how the hell did the Hawks have 24 free throws compared to the Bulls' 7? Like, without the Bulls committing so many fouls, they likely win this game, no question. Yes, there were a few not so great calls tonight, but the Bulls just weren't playing effective defense to ensure they're not committing so many fouls. Also, the Hawks only had 5 turnovers tonight. Like, that says a lot about your defensive effort when you only force 5 turnovers. The Hawks took excellent care of the ball, but a strong defensive team and a tenacious defensive team is going to force more than 5 turnovers in a game. I really miss the defensive intensity, that edge that this Bulls team used to have with guys like Lonzo and Caruso. Man, I cannot wait to have those guys back, which hopefully will be sometime this month. Can the Bulls just please finally get back to being healthy? What I did like seeing tonight, though, was the fact that Billy Donovan finally started changing up some of his rotations, where he started using Vucevic and Thompson together. I've been saying that the last couple of games now. They need more size on the court at the 4 and 5, and Thompson can play the 4 spot. Didn't necessarily work since the closing lineup wasn't as effective, but you did see better rebounding with both of those guys on the floor at the same time. So I hope to see more of that. I did like seeing a better game from Vucevic finally, and doing so against one of the better defensive big men in the league was great to see. He finished the game with 21 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. Ayo had a better game offensively. He finished with 15 points and 4 assists on 7 for 10 shooting and only 1 turnover in 36 minutes of play. It was good to see DeMar's shot come back a bit. He was 10 for 20 from the field, 22.7 rebounds and 8 assists. He fouled out of the game tonight, which is rare to see from a guy like DeMar. Zach Lavine had a better game tonight in which he got 8 for 14 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3. Good to see him knocking down the 3 ball at a better clip. He also had 22 points and 7 assists, but like DeMar, he also had 4 turnovers, and some of those were in critical moments in the fourth quarter where Zach just straight up lost the ball trying to drive with his left hand. He's been doing that more recently, and it's frustrating when it happens in late game situations, especially when they're unforced turnovers. Zach also had only 4 points in the fourth quarter in total. The other thing I liked seeing was that the bench for the Bulls was actually strong tonight. Coby leading the way with 15 points and 5 assists. He shot the ball well, had a big 3 in the fourth quarter. And how about Troy Brown Jr. coming through and having some nice plays in the fourth with some big 3s? He was 3 for 3 tonight from deep and played some solid defense as well. And then, of course, we already talked about Tristan Thompson and his effort off the bench. And finally, he was used being played in parallel with Vucevic, which was great to see. Now, the Bulls are on to their next game, where tomorrow night, not much anticipated game against the Milwaukee Bucks coming to town. I know anybody who's going to be at the United Center is looking forward to that game and the revenge matchup on Grayson Allen. That's what's unfortunate about this loss, is that the Bulls played hard, had a chance to win, and they blew it in the final minutes, expelling all of that effort and energy in a losing effort to now having to go against one of the best teams in the league, a big team that they do not match up very well against with their size. I imagine you'll be seeing more of Thompson and Vucevic out on the court together in this one to combat Giannis, Ibaka, and Chris Middleton. Apologies for not having a live game chat tonight, guys. I was late in getting it uploaded, but I will have a live game chat tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that if you want to join. I also have a very special guest joining me tomorrow on the channel, so make sure you tune into that. Until then, guys, as always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I do post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.